in this weird, wild, wacky world we're in. This is another scene for Unmask Orlando, the Mage the Ascension venue. Oh, seriously. This evening's scene is set at the home of Dahlia Lowry. Apparently there's a baby in the house tonight, too. But yes, Damien has asked for a discussion with Dahlia. She did not ask the topic just yet. She will wait and let him explain when he arrives.
Damien, who will this time be in a fresh set of clothes, pretty average stuff for Orlando, especially around this time of year. But at the very least, has been making his way over to Dahlia's place. Several weighty questions in his mind, and he even has a piece of paper where he's noted down some of the questions he'll try to breach with her. And in a stretch of forest on the way, he'll just have a tiny doobie to calm his nerves a bit, since he knows that he'll have to keep it together and also be tactful, because the questions he are about to ask are going to be personal to a certain degree. But we shall see. The doobie is smoked, he has come, and Dahlia can hear from outside.
Dahlia will make her way to the door, kind of. She knows the layout of her apartment by memory at this point. So she kind of deftly moves around objects that are normally in the way and opens up the door. Mr. Wolf?
Hierophant?
Please, call me Dahlia.
As you wish, Dahlia. And he enters.
Yeah, next to her is a rather large white wolf.
Oh, hello there.
One would assume it is her familiar.
One would assume so.
He kind of leans up and sniffs.
Damien, without much thinking, puts out his right hand in a very relaxed fist, letting the wolf have a good sniff at him, and just calmly smiling at it, since this isn't the first time he's dealing with big-sized animals, familiars, and other interesting creatures.
Yeah, the wolf sniffs and then kind of happily just then turns around and walks away. Sorry about him.
Charming fellow. What's his name?
Excuse you, Mr. Noisy. Hush. I take that as I'm not going to hush. Here, how about a bottle? Will that quiet you? I love it. He was quiet right up until I started my intro.
Huh.
Little jerk.
It's okay, I have time.
You found your pacifier, huh? Still want your bottle? I take that as a yes. Lay down. Here. Here. Hey, goofball. There you go. Babies. They're great.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so he just smiles and comments, "Oh, and what's his name?"
Thor.
I would have expected him to be red-headed in that case, but good name.
You'd think, but that's what he prefers, so.
Fine. Oh, by the way, I brought you some cake, and he
Oh,
offers Dahlia a freshly cut slice of one of the cakes that Mina had recently brought.
why thank you.
Ah,
I'll put that
you
in
know
the
what they say.
fridge.
No problem. Sadly, it's not from me, but from
Mina?
Mina. Yep, she's really good with her cakes.
It's pretty clear that she knows the layout of this house like the back of her hand. She, even being
Yeah,
blind, she moves through the furniture and whatnot with relative ease.
yeah. Damien keeps a good eye because he never knows if there might not be some small pot plant or something partially in the way. But he's dexterous enough, so shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, she pops the piece of cake into the fridge and then comes back out. Would you like to sit outside?
I'd love to.
I always find that the garden is much more relaxing.
Yes, and I always enjoyed the green of nature, and it's also proven it's relaxing on the eyes.
Indeed, and well, need not worry about sweating out there. I keep it at a comfortable temperature.
Yeah, I'll have to figure out that trick one of these days. But first, I'll need a place of my own before I do that.
Yeah, she leads you out into the back. The actual house itself is fairly small.
Hmm.
Very scant amount of furniture, like a small dining table, a couch, and a chair. The walls are absolutely lined with bookshelves,
Gotcha.
and the outside is also has bookshelves because it is magically protected.
Yep.
But yeah, she'll lead him out to the like there's a walkway that leads out to a table and a couple of chairs.
Excellent. Uh, yep. Damien will get comfortable and wait until she's comfortable.
Yep, she will get sat down. So, you have things you wanted to talk about. Please, go ahead.
Fair enough. I know the last time we met, I made quite an ass of myself.
No, hardly.
I meant more what happened in the museum. Mind you, I
Ah,
got fully schooled on what the do's and don'ts are, also why, plus that we are at war with the technocracy. Worrying, but I think I can deal with that. Let's just say that wasn't the case where I hailed from. There was a ceasefire.
I get that.
But yes, in our last talk, I had told that there had been a lot of unclarities, that everything seemed quite jumbled, and that basically that I needed to get my shit together to, yeah. And the thing is, I have been able to talk with some of the people of the Hermetic Order, and they have agreed to have me trained in some of their basics, but without being officially a member of their tradition. Of course, with a blood contract and everything, that I don't spill any beans.
Mm. Never a fan of blood contracts.
Just to be clear, it was a normal contract, and then we were asked to write our names in our own blood. Apart from that, nothing else out of the ordinary had happened.
She nods.
Yeah. I was also able to get, at least from the Hermetic side, from Dr. Xavier, the okay that he wouldn't mind me being dual tradition if I chose so. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk with you about. If you would say yes, no, or would even have great concerns about such a thing. Trying to become of dual tradition.
It's a difficult road, but if it's something you feel passionate about, I would not stop you.
The thing is that I see that on a spiritual side of things, I feel very connected to the verbena. And I'd still love to learn some, to reconnect myself with the sphere of spirit under your guidance. On the other hand, on the more logical, practical, rational side, the way I cobble together my practice, the way I perform magic, how I bend the spheres to my will, and how I go about it, has been taken from old sources, but most of them Egyptian, Sumerian, Persian, some of them also Roman in practice, plus Germanic, and to be more precise, the runes themselves. And how should I say, I find that the methodology that the Hermetic Order uses is closer to what I cobble together than what the Verbena do.
Sorry about that.
And that's okay. And that is the reason why I'm interested in the way they go about it, using magic.
Of course. We all
Yeah,
explore before we find ourselves as mages.
yes. So in that sense, I am seeking more to try, if I have to go with a two-pronged attack to get the most, how should I say, the go about it the most efficient way and maybe still be able to keep a balance, I would like to embark on that. And I would also be more than happy to have also officially join the Verbena. Would you allow it?
I would happily support you in finding your way.
Yes.
As the saying goes, not all who wander are lost.
J.R. Tolkien.
Indeed.
Yes. And yes. Deep roots might not be reached by the frost, and from the ashes a fire might be awoken. He just smiles. Yes. And then, first of all, thank you. Secondly, is there anything from your perspective, how should I say, are there reasons why the Verbena and the Hermetic Order are as separate in tradition as they are? Because I've got the feeling I sometimes see elements that seem like common history, but then again, I should really find somewhere where I can read up about the history of, well, us mages. Because the history I learned at school, that's very one-sided, very
Well,
one-sided.
a lot of it comes down to the way we practice and our beliefs. Most of the verbena are more spiritual, and it shows in the way we practice.
Often enough taking the role of a servant of some sort to some deity.
Yes, whereas more often than not, the Hermetics see themselves as divine, which
Couldn't. Yes.
that rankles me a little bit, but
How so?
while I
Let
agree that
me.
there
Mhm.
is some level of divinity in all of us, they see themselves above others, and it mm, ruffles my tail feathers, so to speak.
Mm, I see.
We are not above anyone.
That is quite true. Funnily enough, I agree both with you and to a certain extent with the Hermetics. But let me quickly explain.
Of course.
So, on the one hand, I agree with the Hermetics. In the myths, in the tales, in our avatars, and also our soul, there is shown that we have some kinship, one could say. We have, at the very least, a drop, a spark of the divine, a part of the greater whole that has dropped itself into these vessels, which we call bodies. And that with enough experience, training, hardening, and also learning, one might, even if it's relatively rare, ascend and become truly similar to gods. However, as far as I see it, this drop of divinity is basically in all human beings, but in most of them, the sleepers, it's simply in a dormant state and acting more passively than, than us awakened, who use our will to be more active in the world, have more agency, sometimes even dare to stand against the tide of fate, but only for a short time. And in that sense, everyone has the potential, everyone has most, at least, there is a chance that they could awaken. And because everyone else, that doesn't make me any more special in my eyes than to a sleeper, apart from the fact that I'm awake and that I have to deal with my knowledge.
I feel a very similar way. Do we all have a little divinity in us somewhere? Yes, of course. We're all creations of the wheel. But just because we have access to what we do doesn't make us any better than the sleepers.
I merely like to think of us mages as primus inter pares, simply first amongst equals.
But yes, most of us Verbena tend to be much more religious than, or well, spiritual. I wouldn't call any of us
I
religious.
just wanted to say.
Organized religion is a cancer.
I couldn't agree more. There's a reason we haven't we in our family haven't gone into a church for at least 3 generations.
But yes, we have our reasons for our differences, but at the same time, there are certainly similarities between the two traditions.
Well, we had to. I would guess that the 9 traditions had to find common ground somewhere if they want to
Precisely.
stand against the, as much as it pains me, the might of the technocracy. It's anything but a simple foe to overcome.
Indeed.
Yes. And something else that I had to get clear in my head is who exactly was I? Get my memories properly working, which they are.
Good.
And funnily enough, thanks to Octavia of all people, a few things I started noticing a few things that although a lot is similar, some of the crucial things are different. For example, I only recently realized that my left leg, which I swear had been severed off in Dublin, long story, and I got a replacement with spirit and crime magic. Turns out, recently I had a cramp, and then I put my life sights on, and lo and behold, I've got my leg back.
Hmm. Well, if that's not interesting,
Yes,
it could simply be that you've been dropped in another point in the multiverse.
exactly. That is something that Octavia had brought up, and I took the
There are
liberty of. Sorry.
there are infinite realities. We are just one of them.
Yeah. And another question I have, and I know that you've been wearing long sleeves on your arms. Now let me quickly explain why I'm asking you this personal question. The Hierophant in Dublin, and the Verbena there who had adopted me, she had scars on her arms. She also used to wear long sleeved clothing. And at some point, I got a better look at what they were. When I first met you, there was a lot about you that reminded me of her, but also enough things that were different. And that was also the reason why the first few days I was a bit reserved. It wasn't because you weren't kind to me, far from it. You were very welcoming. It was more me just trying to process. I I will not ask you to unroll your arms and show me, but would you happen to have cigarette scars on your arms?
You'll notice as you started talking about scars, she tensed up quite a bit. Sounds like myself and this Verbena from Dublin share a lot in common. She kind of rolls her sleeves up, and there are indeed, all over both forearms, cigarette burns.
Dahlia will hear a sharp intake of air, like, that's okay. You don't have to show me more. Sorry about that, but I have my confirmation. Those. I never understand. I can't understand why people would do that to one another. But then again, I was one of the lucky ones. Let's just say a happy household, a happy childhood, parents I adore.
I've never met either of my parents, so
I'm sorry that I brought it up, but
it's quite all right.
I had a nagging feeling that the the connections I was making, that I was in an alternate universe. Well, from my point of view, you guys are perfectly in the right universe. But yeah, well, thank you very much, and sorry about that.
It's all right. I don't talk about it often, but when
I
I do,
won't
it tends
tell
to be
anyone.
with tradition mates and people I trust.
I know I've been asking quite a few things of you lately, and please, if ever there should be anything or any task or problem or thing that you would need help with, feel free to ask thrice, and I'll give without asking. That is a promise
I
upon
appreciate it.
upon my name and the name of my ancestors. That is a big deal, out of character.
Yes, it is.
But yes, okay. That lightens my heart. That lightens my heart and my mind a lot. Yeah, the universe, or in our case, the universes, I think. Yeah, has a weird sense of humor, but if there's one pattern that I learned when I was in Dublin, if I showed up somewhere, it was normally because my presence was needed in one way or another. Even Clear, bless her, she has her own bundle of problems to take care of. But yeah, even she pointed out that maybe I was brought here for a reason, and I have faith that that's the case. Not hope, but faith.
I'm sure you were.
Yeah. And I'm more than happy to help the mages here as it's needed, to help the sleepers as it's needed, and in the process also help myself.
So,
So, I would say feel free to get all preparations for a proper initiation going. Let me know what I need to know, what I need to do, how to prepare myself.
I'll say this, our initiation process isn't easy. Or short.
Nothing worth obtaining is easy.
I will write out a, well, write. Voice to. I will attempt to. Actually, I will just have Matthias transcribe something for me.
I hope he's doing well.
He is. We've learned a lot about each other in the time that we've been paired together.
You make quite a cute couple, I have to say.
She blushes. We're not. I. We're not together in that way.
Mhm. Sorry, my mistake. I used the wrong word. Um, I meant more duo. Sorry, German, English. I translated the wrong word. Sorry.
Yeah, her face is just bright red.
Lost in translation. Sorry. I mean, you two make a good team. That's what I wanted to say. And Damien blushes a bit.
I
Trying to save the situation.
I do have to agree. We do make quite the team. We work well together.
Yeah. Yeah. Being around Jesse and Clea, I've definitely learned a few things about them. Yeah. But it's good to make connections. It's good to smith friendships.
Jesse's an interesting little thing.
He is. He is. I mean, he's got his heart in the right spot, but he has no filter.
He almost seems more like an ecstatic, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I was surprised too to find out that he's a hermetic
He
of
seems
all
much more
traditions.
like an ecstatic than a hermetic. He's so vibrant and lively.
Yes, he's got a real way of infecting you with his enthusiasm, I have to say.
I love seeing enthusiasm in the young ones. I say young ones, I'm 21.
No, I'm 30. Well, a little older than that. Yeah, he
Yeah,
looks
she
early
she is
30.
she is quite young.
Yeah. But then again, some of us have only been mages for 1.5 years, other for 6, other for half a lifetime.
I only just awakened about a year ago.
Uh, his jaw falls down a little bit at that.
I
Definitely
After I
different.
awakened, Merlin found me.
Ah, the keeper.
He
Yes.
sought me out.
Hmm.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
why.
Oh boy. Yeah. I well, it'll actually be interesting to see if Merlin here will be exactly the same as Merlin back from where I'll probably never be able to go. But who knows? Maybe that's even for the better.
Perhaps.
Hmm. Let's just say a certain entity gave him just let the comment fall. Merlin seems to like you, and then I plopped out of the sky.
Oh,
Yeah, wrinkly sort of fellow.
indeed. Yes, I. Time works differently in Kalhaya.
It does. Uh,
I.
do you guys still have megalocerises there? That would be Irish elk.
Yes,
Excellent.
they are beautiful creatures.
They are like something from the last ice age. Never thought that I would ever see one in the flesh, and here I stand.
But yes, Here, I've only been awake for about a year. But in Kalhaya, I spent almost 10 years studying.
Ah, yes, time distortion.
That's why I'm so much further in my studies than most.
Of course.
And
That,
having someone
yeah.
like Merlin to help me didn't
Oh,
hurt.
having a mentor like Merlin is a great boon. I have to say, to Hierophant's past and Hierophant's present, I am jealous.
Well,
But Damien laughs and seems to take it in good cheer.
I would gladly introduce you.
It would be my pleasure. I take it he still has his rules about not talking about death while in his realm unless it is.
Yes.
To call him keeper.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I would be able to make a good figure and not embarrass you. Let's just say I already got a. Not that it was me who embarrassed myself; those were others. But I got the introductory talk already.
Good. I'll set up a meeting with him then.
That would be a pleasure. And yeah, nobody said things would be easy, but I have to say, for the first time in as many as a month, I feel that I am making steps forward and no longer one step forward, two steps back. I
Well,
feel like
good.
I'm finally progressing.
She kind of stands up. Would it be alright if I hugged you?
For a short moment, Damien thinks, and then he goes, "Not at all." And he opens his arms.
She kind of holds a hand out to and finds his hand and then goes from
Yeah.
there.
First, he'll let her hug him, and then he'll gently hug her.
She is significantly smaller than Cassidy was.
Gotcha.
Cassidy was a fucking Amazon,
Yes.
5'11", 190 pounds of
Oh, yeah,
fucking
the
woman.
Bane of Fury.
Whereas Dahlia is on the rather petite side. She is about 5 foot even.
Yeah.
She's
Damien
almost a
will
full
hug.
foot shorter than
Yeah.
Cassidy was.
Yeah, Damien will hug her in a way that he basically lowers himself a bit to her level and and gives her a hug. And no idea if you want to have any sides on or not.
Nah.
Oh, it's fine. But yeah, I would say you're getting an aura of calmness, of peace from
Oh yeah,
Damien.
she just kind of being around her feels very warm, very comforting
Yeah.
because
It,
Freya. No,
yes.
she's Mother
Oh,
Nature, not Freya.
sorry.
Cassidy is
Got it.
Freya.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah,
That's why
uh,
shit blossoms and blooms when she's around.
it's
Because
brilliant.
Echo's flaw.
Yeah, and I would simply say from the pressure of the hug and the warmth that she can feel of Damien and also the breathing, he seems calm, at rest. And for our dear viewers, as the camera pans behind, showing Damien's face, there's just a calm smile and a small tear that manages to escape his eyes.
And I
Thank
think
you.
we can end with them hugging,
Yeah,
because that is a very sweet little way to end it.
agreed.
Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another scene for Unmask Orlando, the Mage venue. See you next time.